So here is a basic look at the different tools you'll need to do decals. First up is a bowl of water. Supposedly warm water is supposed to be ideal. However, I've always used just regular tap water, basically cold, and I have never had any problems. So supposedly that is ideal. So if you have some way to keep constant warm water, go ahead, but just regular whatever water you have on hand, it will be fine. Next up is a dedicated brush. Excuse me. Basically you use this mainly to apply different chemicals and such to decal, applying extra water if you need it to keep the decal up and so you can position it and all the like. Tweezers, ideally you'll want one to hold the decal and the paper while you're dipping it in the water, and one to help you position decal. And then your decal setting chemicals, I use both micro set and micro sol. This one to prep the surface before I applied the decal, to basically clean it, get the surface ready to take decal, and also you can use it to remove decals if you screw up. Mind you, if you do that, be very careful. I've managed to only successfully do it twice, and the third time that I tried didn't end well. But yeah, you can use it to try and get a decal up if you need to do some repositioning. The second chemical is microsol. You use this to basically make the decal lay down onto the kit and basically make it look as though it was painted on. And more importantly, makes the decal basically get into like panel lines, odd edges, and what have you, and makes the decal settle down. So next we'll actually do some decaling. So we're now ready to begin. Now, one of the most important things when decaling is to make sure that you're going in the right order, as order will sometimes matter significantly when doing decals. So always check your instructions first. Always go back to them and keep checking as you go along, just to make sure you're putting everything where it needs to go and all that. Now, another important tip is, especially with aircraft and military models and all of that, is to try to pick out like a point or area for referencing, such as for this decal, which is the one we're actually going to be putting on first, is these two panel lines, as well as this little box. And basically you want to try and use different points on the model as basically for referencing, to get an idea where the decal needs to go. So let's get into it. So we're going to start off with our micro set, and we're going to apply a fairly decent amount on over the area we're going to be putting the decal onto. Now you want to put a fairly liberal amount. Now a good sign that your gloss coat went on will be that the decal chemicals will pool into like little blotted areas, as this is because the surface is gloss, so it'll naturally want to run and not stick. Now, two items I forgot to mention in the first part of this video as far as tools you need. One is a piece of paper towel just for wiping your brush and such, and a pair of scissors for cutting. And that said, now we can, while this stuff is sitting, we can cut out our decal. So you just want to cut around. Now you may or may not be able to see this in the video. I'm not 100% sure if you can or not, but you'll typically see like a clear edge around it, the decals. This is the edge of the carrier film. Now, depending on the age of your decals and all that, you may need to apply additional carrier film to the decal just to make sure. And one thing you will always want to do with any decal sheet is typically find like a fairly large size decal and clip out the little number and just use that as a test reference just to make sure the decals are good. Anyway, you want to, as I was saying, you want to cut around this basically film like material, as you can use that as your reference line for the edge of the decal. Now, another important tip is to try and cut a little bit extra from the sheet, such as you see here, and this is primarily just to make it easier for you to grip onto it with your tweezers. Now, in some cases, this is easier said than done, and really it comes down to just you're gonna have to take it one decal at a time. Oops. Anyway, while the decal, the microset sets in, let that finish setting up and come back. So now that the microset's fully done its thing, we now start by actually wetting decal. Now, typically you want to leave it in there for about 30 seconds. Usually you can just count this off on basically 1/1000 and do that. So just, unfortunately, there's no real way to hurry this up or anything like that. It's fortunately just a waiting game. This is also typically why things kind of slow down, especially so when you're doing the stencil decals. So it's been in there long enough. It's a good idea to tap off any excess. And now, again, you're gonna have to wait a little while, and so you just want to set it down and let it sit for a while to make sure the water gets in there and lifts up the decal. So we'll come back once it's actually, since we're basically out of time now. Next video I'll show the actual placing it decal.